Well, I know this caught the senator by surprise. He's trying to find out his way to the stage, but Senator Bill Perkins has been, since I've come home from prison, a big supporter of Citizens Against Recidivism. Senator Bill Perkins is one of the few state senators in New York who is outspoken, who talks about the issues, who invites family members to hear what they have to say, who acts as a representative, who acts as an advocate. And many of our, as we've come to know, many of our political leaders act as lords over the people. Mr. Perkins is not one of those people. Mr. Perkins listens, he's concerned, and he's an advocate. And I think that's one of the reasons why he is always invited to one of these events, because, quite simply, Mr. Perkins cares. And I just like to call him Mr. Perkins rather than Senator Perkins, because being a man means more to me than titles and appellations and all these other kind of things. So without further ado, I'd just like to introduce New York State Senator, Mr. Bill Perkins.
Wow. Thank you for that very generous introduction. I wasn't quite sure who he was talking about. But I am honored to have the opportunity to be here to say a few words. I represent the 30th Senatorial District, which is the village of Harlem, the Upper West Side, Morningside Heights. And I'm joined by my Chief of Staff, Cordell Clear. Please give her a round of applause. You know, we believe that the village is the place where folks should be, and that all efforts made to bring folks home or to prevent folks from going into these places needs to be made as a priority. We understand that there is a lot of money being made in this process of imprisoning folks and incarcerating folks and keeping them in there for a long period of time. And we also understand that there's a racial dynamic to it, and that it's a racial dynamic alluded to when reference was made to the 13th Amendment. So we also recognize that this is not a sprint, it's more like a marathon. It's a long distance run. It's not something that's going to happen by a great speech or even, with all due respect, an important piece of legislation. Because as one who was involved in the legislative process, we know that there's no piece of legislation that's a silver bullet. But with this movement that has been growing, I believe increasingly, not only in my district, but throughout our city and throughout our state, I think that little by little the bird builds its nest, and we will overcome the kind of injustice that you've heard folks represent on the stage today. We're honored to be a proud of that movement, and we look forward to joining all of you of goodwill in the victory that we're sure is to come. Thank you very much. Now, I need to mention one piece of legislation, because my Chief of Staff, she requires that, you know, we are very concerned about the videotaping of interrogations. This is a very, very important piece of legislation. We know that if that type of legislation was available, a case like the Central Park Five would never have taken place. And so we will be obviously in touch with you and others as we move to get our governor and our state legislature to begin to make that kind of law a priority for the session that we're about to begin. Thank you very much.